On a frigid winter evening, in a village where kindness was in short supply, a poor woman with nothing left to give stumbled upon a dying dog in the snow. With no food, no fire, and no family, she made a choice that would forever change the course of her lonely life. What followed was nothing short of miraculous. Before we dive deep into this story, subscribe to the channel so you never miss powerful and thought-provoking stories. Let's go in deep. In the remote village of Grey Ridge, nestled between thick forests and steep hills, winter came like a thief, silently. Suddenly and mercilessly, snow covered every inch of the cracked roads and tilted rooftops. The few villagers who remained indoors rarely opened their doors to strangers or to stories. At the farthest edge of the village stood a crooked wooden cottage, graying from years of wind and rain. This was the home of Eliza Mayweather, a woman most villagers had long forgotten, if they had ever known her at all. Eliza was 62. Her hands were lined with age and work, her back curved from years of carrying burdens, heavier than her frame should have allowed. Once she had been a midwife, tender, brave, revered for her calm in chaos. But time had not been kind. Her husband, Peter, a woodcutter, died 20 winters ago in a logging accident. Their only son, Jacob, had joined the city's factory lines in desperation and was killed in an explosion. No one talked about anymore. Since then, Eliza had lived alone, barely surviving on her small garden and warmer. Months and odd jobs when her health allowed. Her house had no electricity. The roof sagged. Her bed was made of hay and blankets stitched together from memories. The fireplace, her only source of warmth, smoked more than it heated. Still, Eliza carried on, not because she wanted to, but because there was no other choice. Each day was the same. She would rise before dawn, light a candle, pray in silence, and venture into the forest to gather sticks and herbs to barter at the village market. Her body ached, her spirit sagged, but her heart somehow remained tender, and that heart would soon change everything. Eliza's days followed a rhythm of silence and survival. She no longer kept a calendar. The days were marked only by the shifting weight of cold, hunger, and loneliness. Her interactions were minimal: a nod at the baker's wife, a grunt from the gravedigger, an occasional child pointing at her in curiosity or fear. Most people thought she was a witch or a beggar, but Eliza asked nothing of anyone. In spring and summer, she grew chamomile and mint to dry and sell as tea. In autumn, she foraged mushrooms and berries. Winter was crueler. Firewood was scarce, food even more so. But despite her poverty, Eliza had a kind of quiet grace. She still tended to the garden behind her cottage, though it rarely bloomed. She still sang lullabies to the wind, as if someone might be listening. And every evening, before bed, she placed a crust of bread on the porch for birds or creatures in need. Perhaps that is why, on the eve of the harshest blizzard the village had seen in years, fate chose her. She had gone to the forest against her better judgment, hoping to find kindling before the storm. The snow was falling faster than she could gather, and her fingers had gone numb inside her wool gloves. She turned to head home when she heard a sound, faint, broken, a whimper. At first she thought it was the wind. But then it came again, trembling and pained. Eliza followed the sound through the brush until she found it. A dog, collapsed in the snow, its coat matted with blood and frost, its ribs showing through the thin fur, one leg twisted unnaturally. Its eyes met hers, wide, wet, pleading. Most people would have walked away. She barely had food for herself. The storm was minutes away. Saving it meant risk, but Eliza did not move away. She knelt beside the creature, removed her scarf and coat, and wrapped it. "It is all right," she whispered. "I am here." And she dragged the animal home. Back in her cottage, Eliza laid the dog on a rug near the fireplace. She used a dull pair of scissors to cut away the tangled fur around its leg, and cleaned the wound with warm water. Her hands trembled as she worked, not from fear, but from memory. She had cleaned wounds like this before, on boys, on husbands, on neighbors in childbirth and pain. Her body remembered what her heart had tried to forget. She boiled the last of her herbs, mashed some leftover potatoes into broth, and fed it slowly to the dog with a wooden spoon. The animal's breathing was shallow, but it stayed alive. She talked to it all night. "You are a strong one," she said. "Stronger than me, maybe, but I have done this before. Lost many, saved a few. Let us make you one of the few, yes?" The dog looked at her with gratitude, and somehow Eliza felt something she had not felt in years. Needed. She named him Jasper. The next morning, a knock came at the door. Eliza froze. No one visited her, not even on holidays. She opened the door cautiously. A tall man in a black overcoat stood there, snow melting from his shoulders. Behind him, a sleek silver car glinted in the sun. "I am looking for a dog," he said. His voice was sharp but exhausted. A husky mix, injured, ran off 3 nights ago during a thunderstorm. "We have been searching the woods. May I?" Eliza said nothing. She stepped aside. The man entered, and the moment Jasper saw him, the dog's tail thumped. Slowly, painfully, Jasper rose and limped toward him. "Shadow!" the man cried, dropping to his knees. He embraced the dog tightly. He turned to Eliza. "Where did you find him?" "In the snow. He was dying." "You saved him," the man whispered. "I only did what anyone with a heart should have done," Eliza replied. The man introduced himself. His name was Victor Sterling, the CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the country. He had a private villa near the forest, where he often escaped with his dog for solitude. Jasper, or Shadow, as Victor called him, was not just a pet. He had been his late wife's companion during her cancer treatments. "He was her last gift to me," Victor said, voice cracking. "She died 2 months ago. I was going to scatter her ashes in the woods. He ran off. I have been looking ever since." He looked around Eliza's home, the broken chair, the cracked windows, the empty cupboards. "You saved my last link to her," he said. "And now I want to save you." That same day, Victor returned with a team of contractors, cleaners and a personal chef. They brought food, heaters, and clothes. By evening, Eliza's cottage had insulation, new windows, working plumbing, and shelves filled with groceries. Victor asked her to dinner the next day. Not at a restaurant, but at his estate. "I owe you more than I can say," he told her. "Please, let me do this." Eliza wore a wool dress she had kept hidden in a trunk, her wedding dress, altered long ago. She braided her hair. She felt foolish and old, but also alive. The estate was like a dream. Fireplaces in every room, crystal chandeliers, a piano that played itself. But what surprised Eliza most was the warmth. It was not cold or proud. It was a home. Victor introduced her to his staff. They treated her with a kindness she had not felt in decades. Over dinner, they talked for hours, about loss, about love, about loneliness. "I thought I was the only one left," Eliza said. "So did I," Victor replied. Before she left, Victor offered her a job, caretaker of the estate gardens and animals. "Shadow is yours as much as mine now," he said. Eliza accepted, and so, a woman once forgotten, became a guest of honor in a world she never thought she would see again. Months passed. The seasons changed. Eliza grew stronger. She moved into the guest cottage at the estate, modern but cozy. She had her own room, a small library, a garden that bloomed under her care. Every morning, she woke to Shadow licking her hands and the smell of fresh bread from the kitchen. Victor visited her often. They drank tea on the porch. They planted roses together. Sometimes they sat in silence and simply watched the stars. Eliza began writing again. Poems, stories, even letters to the son she lost. Her words, once locked away, flowed like a river returned to its source. She read to local schoolchildren on weekends. She adopted 2 stray cats. She donated half her savings to the village clinic. And perhaps most incredibly, she laughed. Not the small chuckle of politeness, but the deep, belly-filling laughter of a soul unburdened. Victor became her dearest friend. In time, they admitted their feelings ran deeper. They were no longer young, but their love was not about youth. It was about healing. At their quiet wedding, held under a tree where birds gathered to sing, Eliza wore her altered dress again, this time with flowers in her hair, and Shadow stood proudly beside them. They say when you help someone in need, the universe takes note. That kindness never disappears. It circles back, sometimes in the most unexpected of ways. Eliza, a poor woman with no reason to hope, gave warmth to a dying creature when she had none for herself, and in return, the world opened its arms. She saved a dog and the dog saved her. She gave love, and it returned like sunlight after years of storm. So remember, you are never too poor to give, never too broken to begin again. A single act of compassion can rewrite your entire life. Thank you for watching. If this story moved your heart, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and watch the next story. Another journey of healing, hope, and how the smallest moments can change everything.